I absolutely love collecting these little retro emulation consoles. I have bought in all of mine from Amazon. To this date, I still have no idea how Amazon gets away with this. However, I wanted to go over my favorite retro emulation consoles for those of you that are looking to experience the same nostalgia that I love experiencing because for some reason, bro, I've been in this like midlife crisis moment stage of my life, if that makes sense to you. And I've just pretty much been going back to re-experience a lot of the games that I grew up with. And let's address the elephant in the room here because yes, are these perfect? No. Okay. Are there duplicates? 100%. Do some of them lag and not perform very well? Absolutely. But that is what this video is going to be about. It is going to be me explaining which console is for who, what console you should get depending on who you are, the difference between the SD card sizes or hard drives that you need with a mini PC, and then I will of course go over my favorite ones, the footage that you have seen in this video, and things of that nature. I'm not going to be going over the handheld. This is going to be more of the console version, but if you would like a more in-depth version of like these little retro emulation handhelds, I did put a couple of them in this list. So let's go over which one of these is for who and what ones I actually recommend. So the first console here is a Kinhank Super Console X5. Now this is going to be one of the best consoles on this list. This is a newer updated version of this console and there is currently a $26 coupon, so you're going to be paying $300 for this thing, which yes, that does sound expensive, but this is a really good console for people that are looking to get into GameCube, for people that are looking to get into PS2, and for people that are looking to get into Xbox, because price does matter with these. Okay, you're not going to pay $100 and be playing the more newer modern type of video games because those require better hardware. You need like this is kind of like a mini PC. So it only has 16,000 games on it, but the reason it only has 16,000 games on it is because it doesn't have the entire library going from like 1950 all the way up to like the year 2000, where there's like 1,000 Super Nintendo games, 1,000 Sega Genesis games, 1,000 Atari for each version of the Atari, thousands and thousands of arcade games. You get my point here, man. This is for the newer, like more, the bigger file sizes. So this is probably one of the most popular ones. This is the Kinhank Retro Game Console with over 100,000 games on it. Duplicates, 1,000,000%. There is absolutely duplicates on this, okay? And I do want to say something really quick. How do I want to put this? Not emulate, like how do emulators work, but like, so if you're getting this to play new games, do not get this, okay? The reason I'm trying to explain, like, if you don't understand how emulators work is because if you buy this and you expect PS2 to work, then you're not gonna be playing PS2 games on this. If you get this for GameCube, you're not gonna be playing GameCube on this. And that is why this is a frequently returned item, is because people will buy this thinking that they're going to be playing the PS3 games, the PS2 games. This right here is for people that are looking to get into the library of the very old stuff, like the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, the Atari, the Master System, the NES, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, and things of that nature. This is not for people that are looking to get into the newer, more modern games. However, okay, this you do need to keep in mind, if you have like a mini PC, this has an SD card, so you can get in the folder and whatever, transfer stuff over to your little computer. And I do want to say something really quickly for those of you that do end up doing this. Please do not, if you're looking to get into this stuff, always have a dedicated computer. Okay, please do this because yes, you will run into virus problems. Yes, there will be malware if you buy one of the drives and you plug it into your computer, and I don't want anybody to have their information stolen. So what I do is I have over there, I have a Geekom little mini PC with an 8945 HS, and it literally plays everything up to the Xbox 360. And I have no issues. I did have to go into some of the settings with the newer, more modern emulators like RPC3 whatever, the PS3 emulator. I did have to go into the settings of that thing because that little mini PC has the 12 terabyte Kinhank hard drive, which was kind of a pain in the butt setting up. And that is more for people that are a bit more experienced because they set that up with their console, which is an Xbox controller. They set it up with an Xbox controller. So if you have an Xbox controller, you'll be good to go. However, if you're like me and you like, I just, for some reason, dude, there's no controller out there that I can like get running, or I can get it feeling good with Nintendo 64 games. So I have to have like a Nintendo 64 controller. And I also like playing my Super Nintendo games with my Super Nintendo controller. I like playing my Sega Genesis games, like the 6 buttons. So that Kinhank retro game console with 100,000 emulators, this is for older stuff. And the reason, dude, honestly, the reason I'm even like going a little bit more in depth for this is because there are some people that are going to get something like this and they're going to expect the newer games to run on it, which is not going to be the case. There's a reason that the Kinhank X5 console literally cost 3 times the amount. They didn't just release that for no reason, okay? So there's another X5 console, and the reason that I have a few duplicates of consoles on this list is because Amazon does, they remove them all, and I'm guessing that you can understand why they end up doing this, okay? They remove them for a reason. So it is $330. You're going to be playing everything up to the PS2 era. You're going to have fun with the Xbox stuff. You're going to have fun with the Wii stuff, the GameCube stuff, the Switch stuff, and all of that. So that is the best option. Anything here that's $100, please note, none of the modern consoles are going to run on them. They are included on them, but you need a mini PC in order for them to run well. These little handhelds right here, unless you get one of the newer, I forget the model, the newer one with like the joysticks and stuff, which we can make a dedicated video on handheld. I only put a couple here on the list that I literally have right here, because I wanted this one to be more for consoles, like just plug and play consoles, more than like the handheld. So if you would like a dedicated video going over my favorite handhelds, then I'm more than happy to do that. But just note that the Kinhank with 100,000, the 117,000, the 65,000, 65,000, the 100,000. So all these like consoles here that are $100, like between 100 and 150 bucks, please note that the new stuff isn't going to work. But if you have like an old laptop laying around, which is why I put these on the list, which I'm guessing most of you do, or if you have an old phone, again, which I'm guessing most of you do, that's where these are going to start coming into play, because they all come with a little SD card. So this isn't necessarily plug and play. However, it is without a doubt the best option that you will ever see on the internet, unless you start getting into like like when I mentioned Retro Beast. However, that's so expensive, okay? And you can do whatever you want to do, dude, but like that's the newer stuff. So, yeah. So anyways, it's 96 terabytes worth of stuff, man. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot. So it's got like full libraries of like everything. And I'm talking like everything. 96 terabytes, bro. Like you can imagine like what's on that. So this has everything up to the Switch. Okay, and it does have Play Night on it. So this is where I'm saying you need a dedicated computer for this, is because unless you're willing to risk it, which I'm not because I make my living online. So if you're just installing the everything up to the Nintendo Switch, nothing will be flagged. Like when you're installing everything, nothing is going to pop up. However, the Geekcom mini PC, the GM Tech mini PC here, I have the mini PC with the 8945 HS, and everything runs fine all the way up to the Nintendo Switch, PS3. I haven't tested the full library, but up to the PS3 and Nintendo Switch, everything runs fine. There are a couple of games on the Switch that I have to enter docked mode. However, you do need to understand emulation in this, because they set this up with an Xbox controller. And I'm forgetting if I mentioned this already, but I like to use Super Nintendo controllers with my Super Nintendo games. I've still to this day not found a controller that works good with Nintendo 64. So I use a Nintendo 64. And of course, you need to go into the emulator because they set it up with an Xbox controller. However, if you're the type of person that just uses an Xbox controller, that emulation drive, it's literally all set up and ready to go, other than installing everything on the actual computer. So what I did is I got the 8945HS mini PC on this list. I plugged that in. I updated everything, all the drivers. I installed Avast, the security stuff. I installed all the AMD drivers for the dedicated or integrated graphics and all of that stuff. The C++ and all the other stuff that you need for emulation. So I did all of that and I unplugged it from the internet. Then I plugged that 12 terabyte drive in it and I followed the steps that it literally guides you through. Okay. It even like it is impossible to not know how to set if you've never touched an emulator before, it literally walks you through the whole process. It's like people that go to YouTube and search how to do something and they're like, the person that's making the video is literally reading the exact tutorial that they could just follow by doing it. Okay. So it's got paperwork. If you lose the paperwork, it's literally got a notepad in the drive. As soon as you launch the hyperspin version, it literally has the button layout. It literally guides you through the entire process. Okay. However, the Play Night, these cracked codes for the new games, Cyberpunk 2077, Elden Ring, and all the new like PC stuff that is on that. I didn't install any of that. Okay. I have my PC that I play PC games on, which is like something I pretty much never buy because you have the Epic Game Store that's giving you a couple free games every single week. You got the free games on Steam pretty much every single week. You got GOG, you got the Prime game. It's like you don't really need to buy it legally. Like you literally don't need to buy any PC games because they're offering them to you pretty much for free every single week. You don't have to pay for anything like PS Plus or Xbox Live. And then you got Game Pass if you want like to play the new stuff. So you don't really ever need to buy games on PC unless you just like really want to play the like most recent Call of Duty, which even now that Xbox bought them, that's literally the new ones are coming to Game Pass. So either way, the little rant there that I went down, I didn't install any of the Play Night stuff. I installed the RetroBat. I installed Hyperspin. I installed Kodi, and I installed the installer that does everything for you. So it's like a click and it installs like 50 different things. Avast never came up, okay? So like nothing came up. And the people that are saying there's malware on these things, it's where those cracked PC games are, which is Play Night. And which is why I bought the dedicated PCs because I didn't want to take, regardless of whether or not I installed the stuff, I didn't want to take a chance with that because you could imagine, dude, 12 terabytes worth of stuff. That's a lot of files. That just like some little teeny tiny virus could be attached to one of those. Even if like Kinhank didn't intend that. Was just about to start editing this and I forgot to actually show you guys this. If you do have that extra phone laying around or you are looking to like get one of those like phone transfers, all right, grab one of these things. This is a game, sir. There's literally you put your phone right in this thing and you play it with a controller, which I absolutely love using this thing for Android games. It works really well. So this list I'm always updating. And the reason I put a list here rather than linking to each individual console is because Amazon is always removing them for reasons I doubt I need to explain, is because these are always selling out again for reasons I doubt I need to explain. They're a very, 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 very good value. But with the cheaper consoles, just keep what I said in mind about those being future proofing yourself for the future or for people that have that extra thing laying around that can actually run the newer stuff on them, because the newer stuff on them will not run on the actual console. So do not think, oh, hey, I'm buying 100,000 games for $100 and they're all going to run. I call that common sense.